Ivan, it is time to ceramic coat this beautiful Corvette, but not before we polish.
I'm Ivan.
I'm Nick.
And this is DIY Detail. Today, we're gonna polish and ceramic coat this Corvette. We're gonna make it shine even more than it already does. We've washed the car before. The mirrors were dripping, that's why the drip catcher is there, but we're gonna continue on. We're gonna polish. Now, we've chosen to use the rotary and, of course, the gold standard, but the rotary and the red Rotary Jeweling Pad.
And the gold standard polish.
Right.
If folks may be just joining us for the first time,
exactly.
It's all new to them, Ivan.
So this is the gold standard polish. This is the rotary with the Rotary Jeweling Pad. When we apply the polish to the pad, we have it slightly turning. One spray is all you need. And you see how it's evenly distributed over the pad. So we don't need 3 or 4 or 5 drops. We don't need to prime the pad. The damp pad is doing that for us.
We're going to apply our 5-year ceramic coating, by the way, which is the ultimate in gloss. We have a 3, 5, and 8-year ceramic.
Exactly.
The owner wants the most gloss we have to offer.
Right.
And the rotary step is going to give that, and so is the coating. One thing about ceramic coating, your coating, it doesn't need polished paint, it needs clean paint.
Right.
So if you thought this was the perfect paint and didn't need any scratch or gloss removal or gloss improvement, like you didn't need to polish it in your head, it already was good enough. You could apply panel prep and just coat.
Exactly.
Right? But we're gonna polish, which I prefer to do before ceramic coating. So
right.
Maybe just talk about the thought process behind what you're doing.
Polishing deep cleans the paint. Now, we haven't done a test spot and we don't need to, because we know the paint is in great shape already. We're just wanting to amp up the gloss and deep clean it. That's why we're using our softest and gentlest pad, which is the red Rotary Jeweling Pad. And yes, it can be used on a DA, but it's better on a rotary. And then we'll be using the gold standard polish, which is the only polish we use. It's the only polish you need. And then after that, panel prep, cleaning it off and getting it ready for coating. A lot of people are afraid to use a rotary. I've been teaching how to use a rotary for 40 years now. And every time I teach someone, if I put a DA in their hand and I put a rotary in their hand, ultimately they choose the rotary as their favorite polisher. So if you haven't tried a rotary before, get over the myth that the rotary is this dangerous tool that's gonna cause swirls everywhere. It doesn't. It's all in how you use it, and we'll show you how to do that.
Okay, this is the point where you may be filled with questions. Last time I checked, we answer every single YouTube comment.
Right.
So if you're curious during this process, like, why did you do that? Or how do I know if this? Ask away.
Yeah.
This is a full-time job. Answering the comments is part of it. We love to answer them, but I just, in my head, I'm like, we need to answer this, let's just get to polishing, and if we don't answer it, we'll continue the conversation in the comments, okay guys?
Right, and I always start with a clean pad. I just want to make sure, yes, I've sprayed the polish on here, but I want to make sure it's clean. I'm going to use the pad washer. 2 or 3 shots there. Low speed on the machine. Pad is clean. I'm going to remove the excess moisture, bring it back to speed 1. 1 spray of polish, and off I go.
Where are you gonna start, Ivan?
I'm gonna do this half of the hood and work my way that way. You can start at the back, work your way forward, or start at the front.
I'll start with you. We'll stay at the same pace.
Slow movement, no pressure whatsoever on the machine. A 50% overlap, and a couple passes is all we need. Always have the pad washer where you're going as opposed to where you've been. That way, if for some reason you get sling coming off the pad washer, you're not putting it on an area you've already polished.
Oh, that's smart.
Nick, I had a question from a viewer the other day.
Okay.
He was asking, why don't we have the fancy covers on our wheels when we're polishing? The simple answer, with the gold standard polish, You don't have sling, you don't have dust, you don't need to cover the wheels. We could even put tire shine on the wheels now if we wanted to, and it wouldn't change a thing. Back to polishing. Woo! So now we're wiping off the polish residue, making sure that everything is clean and ready for the panel prep step.
There's gonna be rebels out there who say, I don't need a damp towel, I'm just gonna use a dry towel, Ivan.
It's up to them. It's a lot more work and you risk damaging the surface again. Whereas with the damp towel, we're providing lubrication, makes the polish a lot easier to remove and just glides across the surface easily.
Nice to have color coded, so one is your damp towel, one color. That's for the polish removal, the other is to buff it dry.
Yeah, just a little visual reminder of where you are and what you're doing.
We're pretty complex individuals, us humans, but sometimes keeping it incredibly simple doesn't mean that we're dumb. It's just, you have to be there in the moment when it helps you to understand it, but it's helped me so many times where it's like, I'm just grateful I picked a simple system. Life's hard enough, you know?
Yeah, detailing is about being fun, not about being difficult. So doing all the upper portions first, and then back onto the stools to roll around the bottom. And the first towel we're using is literally a rinseless dampened towel. It's not wet, it's just damp.
It kind of cuts through the polish residue easier without any effort. You're not putting pressure down on the towels to possibly introduce marring in any way, or we just trust us on this, guys.
And you'll notice we're using a short nap towel. I actually find short nap towels remove polish residue a lot easier than a high nap towel. And this Corvette has a stone chip on it. I found one.
Uh-oh. A visual imperfection.
Right at the edge of the windshield, which is not a good place to have a stone chip. Nick, as a recent convert to the Rotary, what converted you?
Well, a couple of things. One, we have the air conditioner going in the background because we really want to manage our humidity in here and temperature before we coat. So if you hear that, my apologies. I love how lightweight and how smooth it is and how quiet it is. There's something that's beautifully consistent about it. It's easy to make excuses in this world, blame something else on your predicament, but the Rotary does one thing. It spins. And so if it is behaving in a way that you don't like, the one variable is all you have to contend with. So actually it's sort of a reflection of you. So if you can understand how this Rotary works, and you can master it and become one with it, like I feel like you do, Ivan, it's very zen, where it's flat pad, no pressure, with the Rotary Jeweling Pad to finish. And as much as I want to get my head involved, when I stand 10 feet back, it's a glossier finish than the dual action. So it just took me having to prove it to myself because I didn't believe it at first.
Yeah, it's just a very simple tool to use. And 30 years ago, nobody had a DA. So everybody learned how to use a Rotary.
In some ways, I feel like we're in a public relations war with not one brand, but just an idea. And the idea being that the Rotary is difficult. And as long as we get people trying it and hearing us out and converting, it reminds me that the message is working.
Yeah, it's not necessarily about converting, it's just don't be afraid to give it a try.
I still grab a dual action polisher to finish sometimes.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, just yellow waffle, gold standard polish. It feels better in the moment, I don't know why. But you can't argue with the results on the Rotary.
You know, and some people try to accuse me of trying to bring the Rotary back. It never went away. It's always been here, ready to help. Comments below. Have you tried a Rotary? I once had a young guy without a mullet ask me, or tell me that cars were not shiny back in the 70s when all we had was Rotaries.
Because all you did was fill them up with glaze to fill up those holograms, Ivan.
No.
Just fill the scratches with the glaze. You guys didn't know what you were doing. Come on now.
Yeah, right. If only you could go back to that time. But we have a Corvette here.
I would probably fit in with my mullet.
Yeah, unfortunately. We have a Corvette, not a DeLorean here, so we're not going back in time. This paint was in great shape already, but we've already given it a really nice gloss increase. And when we add the coating, it's going to be even better. You want to be very thorough with this step, even though we're going back over with the paint prep. Don't want to miss anywhere. Want to make sure you're getting absolutely everything. That way the paint prep is just an insurance step. It's not having to do any real work. Nick, time to apply the 5-year coating. Panel prep is done, polishing is done, car's looking spectacular. It's about to look a little better.
You want to do the panel prep before you ceramic coat, folks. Do not skip that step. The preparation is going to be huge in determining longevity.
Exactly. So off we go.
The first thing I'm going to do is box my panel. So prime the pad with 12 drops. I may just do a few circular motions to get it working on the paint. And then I'm going to box like so. How do you feel about that, Ivan?
Yeah, and then fill it in with circles.
I like big circles. You'd be surprised, 50% overlaps, but you think if you're doing big circles like this that maybe you're missing spots, but I actually found it works better.
Yeah, you actually get a better distribution of product.
I'm not afraid of going a little over the line. Just knowing that later on I might have to come back.
Yeah, we actually want to go past the lines. That way you're sure you haven't missed anywhere.
Okay.
Now, what I'm looking for before I level the surface is it looks like an oil slick on water. This is very close to white. It is gray, but it's very close to white. And I can just barely see that what looks like an oil slick on water look. And when most of it goes away, then I'm gonna take my pearl leveling towel and feel it. And if it feels like I'm moving liquid around, which it is, I'm gonna wait a couple seconds longer. Observing it, and then I'm gonna try it again.
In the meantime, I can hit a window.
Yeah, move down the A-pillar maybe.
Sure, did the A-pillar already.
Okay.
Did the piano black.
Yeah, so now I'm not feeling like I'm moving liquid around and I can see it as well. It's very easy to level. And when I'm wiping, I want to make sure I'm going way past where Nick applied. That way I'm sure that I've got absolutely everything. Now, a customer gave us a tip. He said, try using a twist loop towel for the final leveling or wipe off. And we're trying it right now, and I can tell you it works great. So
that's awesome.
Thank you very much.
Love those towels. So I hit the window.
Yeah.
I hit the piano black triangle here, and then I hit this window as well.
Okay.
And then the A-pillar.
Okay. Now, if you want to do the mirror.
Sure. Yeah, if you're working as a team, this can be a great method. Just Ivan and I talk to each other a lot. You may get to a point where you don't need that, but I find it never hurts to communicate.
Sylvie and I have been applying coatings together for 20 years, and we still say what we're doing and where we've been. It's just a lot easier, a lot simpler, and you're guaranteed not to miss anything.
All right, that is one coated mirror there, sir.
Yes.
While you wait for that to flash, what next?
Do your windshield.
All right, we'll do the windshield.
Now, glass reacts slightly differently to a coating. You want to make sure that you're actually leveling a little faster to the glass. The glass is not as porous as the paint. Therefore, the coating just needs to cross-link to itself, not to the paint. And when it's doing so, it's a little faster. So for glass, you almost immediately want to level the coating.
I think with plastic trim glass, you're okay to almost apply and level.
Yeah, exactly. I can do the mirror while Nick does the hood, and we'll be good to go.
You want to do the quarter or the hood?
Use this line,
okay,
and go inside of the line.
Cool. Now this step should be fun, folks. You've worked hard, you've corrected the paint, you've polished it. This is the rewarding time where you just get to put that ceramic coating on, enjoy the process, the fruit of your labors. Now all the way up through here.
Yeah.
So, just horizontal there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hit the other side of the hood as well.
Nick, we've had a few people ask, what if I only have one car? What do I do with the leftover? Well, if you keep it well sealed and in a cool, dry place, it'll keep in the bottle for 6 months to a year.
And if you're a detailer and you're wondering, can I stack these? Because you have multiple coating bottles from us, the answer is yes.
Yes.
But the 3-year coating has to stack last. So you would never put anything on top of our 3-year graphene. So if you wanted to do 5-year and then 3-year, that would be absolutely fine if you waited 2 hours in between.
Exactly. But after 8 hours, your window of opportunity is done. The slickness on this 5-year coating is spectacular. And so is the gloss. And let's say you've done a couple cars with your bottle, it's almost empty. Well, one way of using up that little remainder is you do want to double up things like rocker panels, the front bumper, and just above the windshield, and your mirrors. The areas that have that frontal contact that insects can get on, rock chips, etc. It's going to help reduce those. Not eliminate them, but help reduce them.
Ivan, the paint is insanely slick.
Exactly.
I'm doing a quality control, just making sure there's no high spots. So I haven't actually touched the towel to this paint yet. I've just been applying. And it's like, wow.
Yeah, very, very slick. Protected, and it's going to be a lot easier to clean.
Ivan, this thing is absolutely slick to the touch. And if folks are watching this, they probably have some interest in Corvettes.
Exactly.
So where would they want to go?
They might want to watch this.